Laser sights increase confidence regardless of experience level, whether you're learning the fundamentals or overcoming aging eyes. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, an African-American gun club in Colorado that specializes in firearms training to the urban community. Plus, online exclusive guns and deals. Your comments, questions, and range reports, and all the latest news. And as always, you can call in to 866-TALK-GUN. And now, here's Tom Gresham.
Oh, man, a lot of things going on. Hey, Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. Glad that you could be with us. We have so many things we need to talk about. A vitally important case decided in an appeals court, just the court right underneath the Supreme Court. Horrible decision. Confiscation, giving up property, and it could be coming to a state near you, like as in the one that you live in. We'll be talking about that as we go forward today. Also, new products. We'll be talking about some of those. And, of course, we've got some surprises, actually, to unveil a little bit later on in the show. It's going to be kind of fun. We're going to spring some stuff on people. Always a fun thing to do. If you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN, a very easy way for you to get involved here. By the way, I'm Tom Gresham. The show is Gun Talk. Oh, my goodness, we've been doing this for some 23 years now. And we are broadcasting coast to coast around the world. You can listen live. You can listen delayed. You can listen via podcast. And if you like what you're hearing, you go back and listen to years and years and years of Gun Talk over the years via podcast. Actually, now that I think about it, we were putting the show up on the internet before there was such a thing as podcasts, because it was way before there was such a thing as an Apple iPod. We were actually digitizing the radio show and putting it up, probably 15, 18 years ago, something like that. We were breaking some ground then, and I guess we still do. We still do break ground. It's a ton of fun to do, and we're able to talk to some interesting people and bring you some interesting information. Also, kind of part of the whole thing is your participation, because when I think about this show, it's actually a bunch of us sitting around the stove, telling stories, swapping lies, doing the things that we do. And for that to happen, you got to be involved. You got to give us a holler, 866-TALK-GUN, or just Tom Talk Gun. Very easy for you to get involved. Just give me a holler. Okay, something just happened in New Jersey. I know you're thinking, yeah, it's New Jersey. No. You need to pay attention to this one. This is important. In fact, it is maybe pivotal, I think. Essentially, what happened is the Circuit Court, Third Circuit Court of Appeals, just upheld New Jersey's ban on high-capacity magazines. This is not a ban on the sale. This is a ban on the possession, as in, if you have it, you're breaking the law. If you haven't gotten rid of it or modified it, you're breaking the law. And we're not talking about a little slap on the wrist. We're talking about I think it's called like a fourth level. We'll tell you what, rather than me try to explain it, let's get the man himself, the guy who is the guru of New Jersey gun laws. Evan Nappen joins us right now. Hello, Evan. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tom. Great. How are you?
I am well. I was trying to explain this thing. Possession of one of these prohibited magazines now is, what do you call it, a fourth level or fourth something crime?
Here's the deal. You see, it is what you said is very important about New Jersey and why folks that don't live in New Jersey should be interested in Jersey, because New Jersey is the petri dish for all the wish list of Bloomberg's anti-gun activities. Right. And that's because it's completely controlled by the extreme Democrats. And what happens is the laws that pass here are huge threats to the rest of the United States, and the legal challenge being denied is very important, because that's a bad precedent. Now, that's being fought on, and it may, in fact, get to the Supreme Court. But for now, it's been upheld enough that the law is in effect. And what this law does is make possession of any magazine that fits any semi-automatic firearm that holds over 10 rounds. So if your magazine holds 11 rounds or more, it is a felony-level offense to possess it. It's called a fourth-degree crime in New Jersey. It carries up to 18 months in state's prison. But here's the kicker. Even if you pay a $10 fine or just get probation, you're now a convicted felon under federal law, and you've lost your gun rights for the entire United States.
For life.
And this for life. This law is outrageous, but New Jersey, as every gun law in New Jersey, is outrageous because there's not a single gun law in New Jersey that is not a felony level. New Jersey makes possession of a slingshot a fourth-degree crime, a felony level offense.
Hey, Evan, let me ask you a question. Say 25 years ago in New Jersey, you bought a Glock 17. Magazine comes with it. I mean, you've had this magazine. It's what came with the gun. It's a 17-round magazine. You didn't buy an additional magazine. You just got this 17-round mag that came with your gun. Can you hold on to that magazine?
No, there's no grandfathering. As a matter of fact, this is even more dangerous, and here's why. New Jersey has handgun registration. So if you own a Glock 19 even with a 15-round mag, or you have a Beretta 92 with a standard 15-round mag, or a SIG 226 with a standard, or any handgun that the standard magazine held over 10 rounds, the state has a registration to you of that handgun, and that is what has opened up the threat of house-to-house searches or at least house-to-house investigations that can lead to the searches.
Well, so I gather that was actually brought up, and generally, you know, when you bring that up, the administrators, the politicians will say, oh, no. No one's ever going to do a house-to-house search. That's not what they said this time.
Well, that's not what they said this time. It's been reported in other news organizations that when questioned, the state police said that essentially it's still on the table. They're saying they don't have plans at the moment to do that, but there's no discounting that it is an option and an option to be considered. And here's the deal. All it's going to take is some atrocity, and I refuse to call them tragedies because tragedy means you bring it on yourself. They're atrocities committed by some knucklehead, and the knee-jerk political reaction will be to blame these magazines, and then you can bet that the enforcement will kick into high gear to blame and scapegoat the New Jersey gun owner. You can count on it.
All right, we're talking with Evan Nappen here. Now, Evan, what is a New Jersey gun owner supposed to do with this magazine, and when is or was the deadline?
The deadline was December 10th for the possessors of magazines over 10 rounds to either give them up to the police with no compensation in a somewhat complicated manner. We have to give written notice and all kinds of jazz. And if you didn't do that, you were able to also turn it into a party that might be legally allowed to have it, such as a gun dealer, because gun dealers have an exemption for their possession of it. So you could have gone to a gun dealer, or you could have sent them out of state or given them to a friend, or permanently blocked them. But permanent blocking has been undefined, so no one exactly knows what permanent means legally. I couldn't tell you with specificity what permanently blocked means. So if you didn't do any of those things by December 10th, at this moment, your possession of a large capacity magazine, that's what the law calls them, is a felony, and under a separate law, it is also unlawful to dispose of a large capacity magazine. So right now, it is both unlawful to keep or get rid of your large capacity magazine.
It sounds like they've got gun owners right where they want them, which is in a position to where you're vulnerable to being arrested and banned from owning a gun for the rest of your life.
Right, and not only civilians, but also the police.
Right.
The active law enforcement, current serving active law enforcement are only allowed to have magazines over 10 rounds while, quote, actually on duty. So when they go off duty, they are not allowed to have them. And the idea that a police officer's on duty 24 hours, I understand that, but they're not on actual duty 24 hours. You're not getting overtime pay 24 hours a day. So when you're not on actual duty, you're in violation. And that's not just me, Evan Nappen, pro-gun rights advocate saying it. That's the letter that just went out from the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office warning law enforcement about this. And they have now stated to another news organization that, they'll enforce it against police.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, Evan, hold on a second here. I got to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're talking with Evan Nappen. Let me tell you, this is he's right, this is the Petri dish. This is the trial basis. This is where they go to see if we can get this done and can we get a circuit court to uphold this kind of draconian law. And then they say, well, then we'll start exporting it state to state to state. Here's the question on the floor. So if an off-duty police officer, can't have a full-capacity magazine, you can't have one, will they send an officer with a full-capacity magazine to arrest you for having a full-capacity magazine? Yeah, they will. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
Now at LibertySafe.com, you can buy a Liberty Safe at a great price and receive 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR, with some safes as low as $20 a month on approved credit. Peace of mind, lifetime warranty, and in-home delivery service. Go to LibertySafe.com now for 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR. LibertySafe.com.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today. With Gun Dealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
We're talking with key gun rights attorney Evan Nappen from New Jersey about this insane law that they passed, and the Third Circuit Court of Appeals has just upheld it, which says that they basically have banned the possession, which is a confiscation move, if you will, of full-capacity magazines, standard capacity magazines, anything over 10 rounds that can go into a semi-automatic firearm. Evan, I know that probably what you're seeing in New Jersey right now is one of the largest cases of civil disobedience in the history of the state, with people not destroying them and not turning them in. I'm just guessing here.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, there's probably between 500,000 and 1 million registered handguns that have as standard capacity magazines over 10 rounds. And the vast majority of those gun owners, remember, they went through the most intensive police background check, a 26-question intrusive application, 3 references, employment checks, mental health record check, and then waited about 3 months at least to get their permit. The permit's in 4 pages. You go to the dealer. It's 1 handgun per permit. It's a form of register. You then do a 4473 and then get an additional NICS check. And the majority of those people are clueless about this, and they think they wouldn't make me into a criminal. I have a registered gun. I went through all that to acquire it. How could that be illegal? They have no clue, and yet they're sitting on what I call a felony bomb. It's a felony bomb waiting to go off on them, and it's going to be a question of to what degree they will enforce it. There's essentially 4 degrees of enforcement, the lowest being random prosecutions, which they will absolutely do. If they catch you with a mag, they'll prosecute you. That'll be, but it'll be like intimidation letters. You know, our records indicate that you may have this, blah, blah, and try to scare the people into submission to their tactics. Above that will be the investigation, knock on doors, question based on records. Do you have this gun, et cetera? And then the most severe would be the house-to-house raids. And any of these and all of these are possibilities. I wrote up a great piece that's gotten a lot of play where I advised the gun owners what to do should they have to deal with any of these scenarios. It's free on my website, evannappen.com. The title of the article is Knock, Knock, Show Us Your Glock. And I say exactly how to respond, what the rights of the citizen are to refusing searches, to not answering questions, and I lay it out as an attorney, specific knowledge. And look, whether you live in
it's a great article. Let me just say, one of the things you say in there, and people need to understand this, is you do not have to open the door when it's police outside.
You do not. And a matter of fact, you should not. Because if you open the door, it could be construed as a consent for coming in. You should talk through the door and ask if they have a warrant. If they don't have a warrant, do not let them in, and there's no requirement for you to talk to police. And look, I'm not saying this to be anti-police. I love the police. I defend police charged with gun charges in New Jersey. Not a problem. It's not about that. It's about our rights not being trampled on, which includes police not having their rights trampled on. And so you ask for the warrant. If it doesn't exist, then you do not let them come in. You never...
More than that, it's not just a case of you don't let them come in. You just say, well, then I don't want to talk to you. Goodbye. And then you just walk away from the door. You're not even talking to them anymore.
Right. Don't even talk, because anything you say, and you may think it's minor, will be used against you and can be then used as further evidence to sustain a possible search. And even more, you need to let your spouse, the occupants in your house guests, you need to let them know, because if they consent, the search can take place even if you're not home.
Wow.
Even if so, they need to read that article and learn what they need to do to protect themselves. And these are universal in America civil rights that we have that men and women have died for. It doesn't just apply to New Jersey. It's at an emergent stage right now in New Jersey, but all gun owners should know this so that they don't become victims of these gun laws. And
so, Evan, where does this case go now? Is it going to go to the Supreme Court?
I assume it is right now. It's going up the chain, and unless we get a victory at some intermediate appeals court, then they're going to request absolutely that it be heard by certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court. The State Association, you know, our good friend Scott Bach of the New Jersey Association of Rifle Pistol Clubs is on this, and they've been pushing this case, and they're not going to give up. But until such time as we get relief by some court along the way, every New Jersey gun owner is vulnerable to these tactics and to this issue. So you got to protect yourself and stand on our constitutional rights. It's just that New Jersey has taken it to a new extreme. And, of course, this has nothing to do with crime. No criminal cares about this magazine limit. All it does is limit civilians and police officers from having standard capacity magazines to better defend themselves. It is an absurdity that is part of an extremist anti-gun agenda. That's why these are called Murphy Mags. It's Governor Murphy. He owns it. They're Murphy Mags.
Murphy Mags. Hey, Evan, look, I appreciate it. Let me direct people. Your website is Evan Nappen. It's EvanNappen, EvanNappen.com. Go right there. You can look at this article, which is excellent. I would encourage anybody, and I don't care if you're in New Jersey or not, you need to understand what to do, what not to do if the police are at your door. I've actually done this. I had a police officer come to the door, and it was about, I don't know, can't remember what it was, and I'm looking at him through the glass, and he said, well, are you going to open the door? I said, no, I'm not going to open the door. And, I mean, he got upset. He was mad. It's like, I was challenging his authority. I said, I'm not opening the door. There's nothing in it for me to open the door and talk to you.
There's nothing. And look, even though it's the innocent person more than even that needs to not do it, because that you have no idea about, did your son's friend leave his jacket in your house with something? You don't know.
Right,
and
you don't know. There's no advantage to you in doing it. And people say, well, I don't want to, I'm a good guy. Yeah, you know what? You got to get over that. You got to get over that naivete of thinking, well, I'm a good guy, so they're not going to do anything to me. They do stuff to good guys all the time. They put good guys in prison all the time. Don't open the door. Don't open the door. Don't open the door. Simple as that. Hey, Evan, I got to scoot, man. I appreciate it. Fight the good fight and holler if we can help with anything, okay?
You got it. Thank you. Take care. Keep up the
fight. All right, you too. Evan Nappen, I tell you what, God, I've had him on the show for 15 years. We've been working on different things in New Jersey. He's the one that worked with us so well. We were able to work on the Shaneen Allen case. The woman from Pennsylvania who got thrown in jail in New Jersey. She had a carry permit in Pennsylvania, drove into New Jersey. She thought it was good there. It wasn't. They could have just said, look, lady, get back over the line there. Oh, no. We're going to put you in jail for more than a year for having the wrong piece of paper in our state. Put her in jail. We got her out after about 45 days, but it was tough. I guarantee you, Evan worked on that. Amazing stuff. The very idea that your magazine that came in your pistol now makes you a felon. You bought this legally, and now they said, now you can't have it, and if you don't turn it in or get rid of it or modify it, you're guilty. And people, I guarantee you, there are a million people that don't know about this in New Jersey, don't know what they need to do. It's going to hammer some folks. And that's the kind of stuff they want to do to us everywhere. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Mr. Gresham. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to host a radio show that will bring truth and common sense to the discussion of firearms rights in this country. Good luck, Tom, to you and your Tom Gresham's Gun Talk team.
Now, you know that I love to see somebody pushing the corners, pushing the boundaries on firearms ownership, moving it into various communities, trying to get more people involved in legitimate, responsible, safe gun ownership. We've been pushing that for decades around here. And it's always a pleasure to see someone who just picks it up and runs with it. And that's exactly what we're talking about right now. Daniel Boykin joins us right now. He's the founder and president of the Ogun Gun Club in Denver, Colorado. Daniel, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So explain what the Ogun Gun Club is.
Ogun Gun Club, we are an African-American gun club that's specifically focused on the African-American community. We focus on self-defense training and education, firearm safety, things of that nature. We're also a chapter of the National African-American Gun Association. Go back a little bit, Ogun Gun Club, we've been around since 2017. February 2017, the National African American Gun Association, they've been around since 2015, and we joined them pretty much around the same time that we became an LLC last year.
All right, the obvious question here is, people say, well, we've got gun clubs out there. Why should there be a gun club or an organization for black gun owners? And I know you must get that question all the time, so what do you tell people?
Oh, yeah, definitely, all the time. Well, first and foremost, it's really just, most people don't really understand it unless they are African American. Usually when, African Americans go out to the range, they're usually by themselves or just, everybody else at the range doesn't look like them. And so it's really common when you go to the range by yourself as an African American to get like this really uncomfortable feeling. Everybody, tends to stare at you like you're some kind of an anomaly. And it's just really uncomfortable to get treated a certain way. And so, it feels more, you feel a lot more comfortable when you're surrounded by people who look like you. You're not as subjected to that stigma that,
I was just going to say, if I may, and speaking from my abject whiteness over here, I got to feel like it has to just drive you crazy sometimes, feeling like you're just being stereotyped when you're saying, I'm a lawful gun owner. I've been shooting guns all my life. I grew up knowing how to hunt. I know guns. I am, and I know all these other, my black friends, all my black people I know my family, the people I hang out with, we like to shoot. We're serious about self-defense. And we just get tired of this thing of people thinking of us one way. I mean, from my perspective, I've got to imagine that's at least partly what it's like.
Yeah, it's been going on forever, and that's actually what one of our agendas is as under National African American Gun Association, is to change that stigma, because you usually look at the media and they're presenting when they present African Americans with guns, it's usually in a thug type atmosphere, or a violent induced atmosphere, just general fear mongering when it comes to African Americans and guns, and that takes effect on the American mind on both sides, white, black, or others.
Yeah.
And so, that's our goal. We want to change that stigma. We want to show African American gun owners in a positive light. Show them that we do have African Americans in law enforcement, that we do have African Americans who have a long history of hunting, firearms training, and just general firearms use.
In fact, you grew up hunting, didn't you?
Exactly. I'm originally from Mississippi. I was born in Alabama, and so most of my family is originally in Alabama, and my whole life, since the age of 9 years old, I've been an avid hunter. And so firearms has always been a major part of my life.
There's something here, and I'm just going to put two things together here that you probably didn't count on, but I'm just looking at things. I was the first gun writer way back when I was writing for Guns and Ammo to write about the Pink Pistols, the national organization of, gay, lesbian shooters who are doing training and such, and their ability to break through to the media. And I'm just seeing your group, the national group, being able to twist the media on its head and kind of turn them around. Because for one thing, and I don't know why this is, it seems to me, and maybe you can help me, that a lot of folks in the black community tend to be a little bit more in favor of gun control. Now, am I misreading that?
No, I would actually say you are correct. That's one thing we work on as well. You're absolutely right. Because, you just look at the statements that, and the initiatives that are pushed by the Congressional Black Caucus, and they're often pushing for more gun control. And we think, and like I said, that goes back to, how black people are portrayed. A lot of African Americans are in really bad areas, and so just those two experiences kind of push this anti-gun mentality into their minds, and so they're just through that they're less likely to understand the importance of firearms use, the importance of the Second Amendment, and it's really just due to fear mongering. When they're not exposed to the positive aspects of gun ownership and the importance of it, they instantly just jump to the other side and start banning all guns. And so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, hold on a second here, Dan. I got to take a quick break. When I come back, I want to talk about what happens when you talk to black people in urban centers, people who may not have thought about gun ownership, and then you start talking to them about, this is one of the ways that you can actually ensure your safety. I know that's a conversation you have regularly. You also do training as well. I would encourage people to take a look at the website. Just Google up Ogun, and you can take a look at that. We'll go talking with Daniel Boykin from Ogun Gun Club. We'll be right back.
The pistol that redefined pocket carry just got even better. The Ruger LCP-2 has improved sights, an easy-to-rack slide, a larger textured grip surface for a secure grip and recoil reduction, and a short, crisp, single-action trigger pull for real-world accuracy. It's so small and light that there's no reason to ever leave home without your LCP-2. A serious pistol in a pint-sized package. Learn more about the LCP-2 at Ruger.com.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Pure accuracy. That's what a great rifle is all about. That's the Mossberg MVP Precision Rifle. The MVP Precision has it all. A bolt action that accepts AR-style magazines, sub-MOA accuracy, aluminum chassis system with slim profile handguard, Mossberg's lightning bolt action trigger system, chambered for the 6.5 Creedmoor, 224 Valkyrie, 308 and 223. Available in 24 and 26-inch threaded barrels. For your long-range precision needs, it's the MVP Precision. Mossberg.com. That's Mossberg.com.
All right, back with you, 866 Talk Gun. We're trying to get that. We lost Daniel. Cell phones are fabulous. We're trying to get him back in here. But it's an interesting concept, interesting idea. And as I was kind of going to, is the whole idea of twisting the media, turning them upside down. It's kind of like a GPFO. And in the Jewish community, it tends to be a bit maybe even heavily on the anti-gun side, but Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership turns that around. Pink Pistols does the same thing on the gay, lesbian community. And then, of course, now you have black gun clubs, black firearms trainers doing the exact same thing, going into urban areas. It's what Maj Touré does with Black Guns Matter, where you go in and say, look, let's talk about this. And they say, well, hey, that's kind of fun. And then, yeah, maybe I'd like to get a gun for self-defense. And why wouldn't I? And you go, yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you? It's a fabulous idea. Now, we got Daniel back. Hey, Daniel, thanks for I'm glad we could wrestle you back in here.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
that's all right. Hey, it's cell phones, man. It's just stuff. It happens. Question for you. When you go into urban areas, you're talking to black people about guns, what kind of reaction do you get?
Well, generally, like I said before, you usually get the, why do we need guns? What's the use of guns? They just cause more death and destruction and this and that and that and this, all the typical responses that everybody else gets when they're talking to others about guns. And, we start to implement our history with firearms, going back to the beginning of America itself, African American gun ownership, our partaking in in the military, law enforcement, defense in the African American community against white supremacist organizations, and we highlight why those past events are important and why they're still important today. And so usually, we tend to break through them. We tend to break through and get to them and have them to, basically come to our side of the discussion. And they, generally after having these conversations, they usually come around to seeing the importance of why they should be more involved in the gun community.
Interesting. And I'm sure in the process you also run into a lot of folks who you may not have known that they are gun people, they're shooters, they're hunters, and sometimes they don't even want to let the people in their own community know that.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of grew up around that with my stepdad and my mom. You know, they've had firearms in the house since I can remember, but they generally didn't, talk about them. You know, they were all, put up or, hidden away and whatnot. And they actually didn't even take them to the gun range often, if at all, from what I remember. And so, and also I think that's a lot within the African American community. A lot of African Americans do have guns, but they don't go to the range and train with them often. And, they don't usually have conversations about guns. They don't usually have these conversations about the legislation that's being passed within their state about guns. And so it's kind of just like, I've always looked at it as having a paperweight in that light.
Well, now you're actually, that kind of takes me to the next thing, which is you're doing training at Ogun Gun Club there in Denver.
Correct. We actually have range day today here soon at around 2:00. We go out to the range every third and fourth Sunday of every month. We do firearms. We do pistol defensive training, shotgun defense training, and rifle defense training as well.
Terrific. And I see that you also have women's self-defense classes. It's a solid concept, and to put the obvious thing on it, the gun rights community needs a lot more people of color in the middle of it to help on a lot of things to get the kind of support that we should have across all lines. But also it kind of makes a liar of the media, which always says, oh, that's just a bunch of old white guys, and who else cares about it?
Exactly right. And I guess it goes back to when people approach me and say, why should there only be an African American gun club and focus on African Americans, and why are you guys pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps, like, And so, and that just goes to show that people don't really see past the black. They don't really see past it and how it's actually helping the Second Amendment community. I think people should start looking at it this way. Hey, these guys are able to reach communities and build trust within communities that, other predominantly white organizations would have never been able to get out, break through to.
I mean, when Maj Toure tells me, Maj Toure says, hey, man, you can't go to the inner city and talk to people because nobody's going to listen to you, but I can. You go, yeah, I get it. You're right, man. And Daniel, you can do that. I mean, good on you, and congratulations, and well done. I just applaud what you're doing and wish you all the luck in the world.
Oh, exactly. We definitely appreciate it. We're not going to stop. We're here till the wheels fall off. That's for sure.
I like it. Well, look, I know you're getting ready to go do your training. You got range day scheduled there in Denver, and I would encourage anybody who's in the area to get involved, and also take a look at the National Association. Now, what is the group called again? It's the National African American Gun Association. NAAGA.co is the website.
Correct. Like I said, we've been around since 2015. We have over 28,000 members within the past 2 to 3 years. We have over 53, last time I checked, gun clubs across the nation also at this point, and we're growing pretty fast.
Way to go. Daniel, thank you so much. Look, feel free to give us a holler if there's anything we can do to help, okay?
Definitely, Tom. I thank you guys for having me on the show.
You bet. You take care. All right. Pretty cool. More people involved, more young people involved in shooting and training and hunting and competition and gun rights. And able to get in to see some people and talk to people who, frankly, might not listen to me, might not listen to you. It's all part of the process. That's what's called being smart. It's being smart politics. It's being smart in terms of gun rights. It's also being smart in terms of gun safety. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your take on this? You got an idea? Here's a story, actually, not far from me. Metairie, Louisiana woman fatally shot Tulane. She shoots a Tulane law student, her husband, in self-defense. A woman fatally shot her husband as he beat her and tried to strangle her in a Metairie home, the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office stated. She was not charged with committing a crime after investigators questioned her. She shot her husband multiple times. He died at the scene. Deputies took the wife into custody. Said the woman cooperated with investigators and provided a detailed and well-documented history of physical and psychological abuse. It will be reviewed by the prosecutor's office, but at this point there's no plans to charge her with a crime. How about that? And in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the mayor of Pittsburgh has decided he doesn't really care what the laws are. Because, see, in Pennsylvania, they have a preemption law where only the state can pass gun laws. Cities cannot. But Pittsburgh Mayor William Peduto, I believe it is, Peduto, he held a press conference. He's going to propose a trio of anti-gun city ordinances that, if enacted, would constitute a direct violation of Pennsylvania's state firearms preemption law and Pennsylvania Supreme Court precedent. What was interesting is that at this press conference, the mayor was joined by Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf, who's calling for cities to ignore state law. Now, Tom Wolf got a $500,000 spend from Michael Bloomberg's Everytown for Gun Safety during his 2018 re-election bid. So he gets $500,000 from the gun ban lobby, and then he comes out and says we should ban guns. Well, hello. Okay. Just so you understand, this is what's going on. And the game plan has changed. It used to be we're fighting this in Congress, and that's where the NRA was good because they were there. Now we're fighting this in state after state. And what happens, and here's the important part of this whole chess match, it's important to understand. When they pass repressive gun control laws in a state, and it gets challenged in court, and it goes to the appellate court, the appeals court level, and the appeals court says, yeah, it's okay, you guys can restrict gun rights. Basically saying, we don't care about the Heller decision, or they misread it, and they say, well, yes, the Heller decision protected your ability to have guns in your home. No, it didn't. It just said that was one of the places. It didn't limit it to that. And if it doesn't go to the Supreme Court, then that becomes the law of the land within that circuit, that multi-state circuit. That is the law. So they don't have to go to Congress. They can go and basically hit the various circuits and get the laws passed and get the circuits to rule in their favor. And that's the existing law. We are about to find out, and this is critically important, we are about to find out if the last two justices placed on the Supreme Court will make any difference. Some of these cases will probably be accepted. We hope it will be. Because the Supreme Court, for 8 years now, has been turning down cases, appeal to it. They won't take Second Amendment cases. Maybe they will take them now, and maybe we will get a favorable ruling, and maybe we can get a little bit of smackdown to the circuit courts where the Supreme Court says, hey, pay attention. We made this ruling and you're ignoring it. If that doesn't happen, I will tell you, I honestly don't know what the course of action is on our part. I honestly don't know. Hey, when we come back, I want to talk about some cool new guns, some things that are out there, and a place where you can grab guns, pretty much anything almost. Go online, get it, but you get it locally. It's very cool. It's a cool concept. And also, we're looking for your range reports. What have you been shooting? And have you purchased a gun for Christmas? Love to get that report. 866-TALK-GUN.